You are pretty engaged with the fact of opening up.
Okay, so maybe it's a sense of like emptiness. So yeah, I would fill that up with something. You know, I'm not sure when I'm sort of having a bit of a laugh and a joke whether that's actually authentic. And then when I drop that, it's just like, oh, it's almost like there's nothing there.
It sounds as though you do know that most of the laughing and joking is a way of protecting yourself from what you call emptiness. And what I hear in your emptiness is a state of not knowing how to be.
Yeah, that's yeah.
So my simple advice to you is to dare to allow yourself more and more into the not knowing how to be.
Okay. I still need to get on with like things. I still need to get on with life.
Have you not noticed that you do get on with life anyway? You are functional within the system in which you're working, and that you can take for granted. So you don't have to worry about being functional in the world, in your job.
Yeah, but you know, sort of interactions, relationship.
Welcome.
Thank you.
To a wonderful new reality where you're not putting on a show. It's like opening the door of the box that you've lived in and coming out of it into a mysterious unknown and allowing yourself to discover what it is to be in this unknown. It's only your conditioning and your upbringing and your personality, all that you learn in your family, in school, and from whoever else, that pushes you to act according to the ways they've trained and taught you. And it sounds like you are in touch with the fact that you are invited into a way of being that is free of all that stuff. And what you're experiencing is totally congruent with that fact. It's like Alice in Wonderland.
But it doesn't feel like that.
What does it feel like?
I don't know, it just feels a bit kind of like... Because actually I quite like my funny self.
You mean the guy who lives inside the box? The ways he knows how to function? The games he knows how to play?
So I like aspects of it.
Fair enough. You're not going to lose any of that.
But I feel I have.
That's because you haven't stepped far enough into Wonderland. It's as though you need to let yourself be more self-welcomingly lost into this. Because what I'm hearing is the reason you're feeling a bit depressed is because you're still not allowing yourself to really say hello to what's happening to you. To you, free of all the conditioning. And it's as though you've stepped into it and you're in a kind of, uh-oh, I don't know about this. And you have some trepidation about stepping so far into it that you become truly fascinated by what happens, for example, when you're with a bunch of friends and you're just letting yourself be there with them without making yourself say things, join in the chit-chat, or doing your comedy number, or your I know. It's as though you haven't dared yet to allow yourself to fully come into being there with a fascination about what it's like to be here, not playing any of the games I know how to play. And the paradoxical thing about it is if you really let yourself fully into this state of not knowing because you're not playing any of the conditioned games, you gradually become really at home in not knowing. I am, in all kinds of situations, I'm really easy about not knowing how to be here. And the paradoxical thing about it is once you really open into letting yourself be here, not knowing how to be, you realize that there are goodies in all that conditioning. There are costumes it's fun to wear. There are games it's fun to play. There are performances that can serve you. And they're there available for you. And the difference is they're not running the show. They're in your wardrobe, in your library, in your playroom, in your laboratory, and you can pull them out anytime you want. And your secret is, you know, when you do that, you're playing. And that makes the difference between you present with all these resources available to you, including choosing not to use any of them, to just be kind of nakedly present in not knowing, rather than having no choice, having to put on a costume, put on a performance, because it's all you know yourself to be. It's the difference between being present in your being and just being run by what you've been brought up to behave as. So the only thing that you're dealing with, as I listen to you, is having a bit of a negative attitude towards the not knowing that you're experiencing. And the only thing you need to do to let go of that negative attitude is to walk much more fully into not knowing how to be here. And the gift you can give yourself that helps you with that is to deliberately, consciously choose to go into, for example, social situations, and even before you enter the situation, to choose with yourself to not do any of your usual numbers and allow yourself to discover how you happen and how your friends experience you. And that, how your friends experience you, is both the most exciting and the most challenging. It's exciting because you know very well that they're going to be surprised. And it's going to be challenging because they may say, hey, what's up with you? And to have no answer, to let yourself be in the not knowing, or to find something that just spontaneously arises. But don't worry about it. I'm just experimenting with life. Whatever comes to you, that you don't pull out of the cupboard. And to choose that adventure, to allow the people who know you to wonder what happened to you, to allow them that, is to look after your own sense of liberation from being trapped in what you're used to. And the more fully you give yourself into it, the more that sense of despondency evaporates.
But how do I more fully do that?
By not knowing how. Really? Yeah, by not knowing how and dropping the but.
Thank you.
This podcast is of Alan Lowen talking in one of his Art of Being workshops. You will find full information about the Art of Being at artofbeing.com.